ActiveMember360 Webhook. This is one of those things that happens behind the scenes that you typically don't need to know anything about, but sometimes there's certain situations that can be problematic. So let me show you what's going on here. So really what we're talking about is the MBR Gen Pass capability that ActiveMember360 does automatically. Now, there's the case where you're going to want to do this manually, in my opinion. It's especially relevant if you have an ActiveCampaign account that has a large number of subscribers. And the reason I say that is what will happen when this function runs is it will try and ping your website for each contact that gets updated. Now, if you do a bulk update onto all contacts in your account and you have a lot of subscribers, that information is going to get sent to your web server. What can happen is your web server says, hey, we're getting attacked, stop, and then it won't allow that information to get passed through. Now maybe you don't need every single person to get information updates, but that might block some of the important people from getting it. So that would be the good reason for having the manual update capability. I'm going to show you how to do that. That last line there, just keep that in mind because that's kind of the format of a webhook that we're going to set up. So let's dive right in. The Member Gen Pass is a great little function that ActiveMember360 does. What it does is it generates a password for a contact. It does a lot of other things like pass information over with regards to the contacts, tags, and information like that. It will also create a WordPress user if they don't exist. Now that's perfect if somebody purchases a membership and you want to add them, they're not already in your WordPress site, it will do just that. And it's smart enough to realize not to overwrite a password if it's already there. You can spell out specifically what password you want or just let it randomly generate. I would recommend randomly generate. The other thing that it can do is you can not register a person. If you add this to the query string in the webhook, that will prevent a user in WordPress from being created. You can also specify what tags to apply, what automations to put them in. I usually don't do that, and the reason I don't is I don't want to figure out what these numbers are. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but I usually just pass on that and let a WordPress or a ActiveCampaign automation take care of that. So let me show you what happens when you activate your ActiveMember360 plugin. Now I've got it set up. I actually went in and made sure it was set up to the default conditions. I'm going to activate it in a minute. But first, let's go into ActiveCampaign, and you want to go down to the little gear icon, go to Developer, and then Webhooks, and then note the webhooks. So I have nothing from this domain, this GoWW domain. So there's no webhooks in here right now. But watch what happens when I activate ActiveMember360. See, wasn't that cool? No, that's not the point. If I refresh this, I'm going to see that a webhook was automatically created. There it is right there. So what it does, and I don't know if I can show you in here, but it's going to send information from ActiveCampaign back to my GoWW site whenever a contact is added or updated. So the problem can be if I've got 100,000 contacts and I make an update to all of them through an automation, they're going to try and send that information to my site. So I'd much rather not do that. So one way, a couple things to do then in this case is you want to go into here, ActiveMember Webhooks. And notice it's already been created, so I can't not enable this. So I'm going to actually unenable this. So going forward, it will not create a webhook. So even if I deactivate this and reactivate it, it will not create a webhook. Secondly, I'm actually going to delete this one that was automatically created. And I'm going to handle the webhook stuff on my own via ActiveCampaign automations. So back to here, the one other thing is I do need to know a code. Let's go down and look at it. Where is it? Security options. There is a security code right there that I need to use. Okay, so now I need to create a link that uses the MBR Gen Pass. So I'm going to copy this right there. Now, I'm going to go here and create an automation just starting from scratch, and I'm just going to leave this as its own one-off automation. So you know what, start without a trigger. Go ahead and make it active, but first I actually have to do something. I want to go to conditions and workflow, webhook, and then just paste that URL in there. So it needs to be your domain followed by $mbr_genpass equals and then the code. And then go ahead and make that live. Now what you're going to do at this point is create another automation. So for instance, when somebody makes a purchase, you want to run them through this automation that will then create them as a user in WordPress if they're not already there, and will assign a password to a custom field called password in their ActiveCampaign account. And then anytime you change a tag that's appropriate for their membership, you also want to call this automation. That's how you use ActiveMember360 Webhooks.